Welcome to Coffee in the Barn, where every cup tells a story. With a rotating lineup of hosts, we invite you to join us as we explore the diverse challenges and triumphs of modern life and the heart of agriculture. From the fields to the classroom, from innovators to everyday visionaries, each episode brings a fresh perspective and a new voice. So brew yourself a cup of coffee, settle in, and let's uncover the stories that shape our lives, our farms, and our communities.
Okay. Hey, Gemma, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks. So officially, this would be my first podcast recording for Coffee in the Barn, having moved over from recording on the Real P3 and that merger that happened. So I think you're a really, really cool speaker and fitting because of what Coffee in the Barn was already set up for. So thank you for taking the time.
No, pleasure. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
And I'm excited to introduce you to this audience as well, because I think as far as women go, you are really kick-ass. And I'm quite excited to share what you've been up to, for you to share that. And I don't know where to start to hook a listener, but probably let's tell the story from start to end. So, Gemma, you are the founder and CEO of Worldwide. So what is Worldwide Vets? Share a little bit of Worldwide Vets for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So Worldwide Vets is a global charity. It was founded in 2011 when I was actually still a vet student. And now we're registered as a 501c3 charity in America, as a nonprofit in the UK. We're registered in Ukraine as a charity as well. And we provide free veterinary care to animals in 10 different countries across 4 continents.
Okay, that was a good summary. You've been practicing that, right?
No.
So, Worldwide Vets has been doing incredible work. And like I said, I didn't know where to start this, but I am going to go straight into it. One thing that's really impressed me is, firstly, your story on how you, because you're originally from the UK, but how you sort of became integrated in the Zimbabwean and the African society. You are ex-British Army, if I'm right. And you came over to Africa as well and lived out of your Land Rover, and you didn't really know anyone here and just sort of winged it. And that, I think, takes a lot of courage for someone from the first world doing that. So how is that? How was that story and that journey?
Okay, so I have to correct the indiscrepancy. Not Land Rover, but Hilux Surf. So let's start with the reality here. Let's not swear on the podcast. So yes, I actually traveled to Africa when I was 18. I wanted to do a gap year, and I came for what was supposed to be 4 weeks. Day one, I was just astounded. I love the continent. I was just totally overwhelmed by the beauty of the place, by the animals, and everything I'd ever kind of dreamed of doing with my life, getting involved in conservation, animal care, rescue, and also helping people, kind of could be done in this location. And I was just smitten with it. So I spent a couple of years traveling through Southern Africa, went off to university, did my degree for veterinary medicine, and then came back pretty much straight away. Sat my exams to be able to practice here, but with very little essentially support behind me, trying to work it out as I went along. So yes, I did live out of my car for about 5 months, bed and all, and moved around Zimbabwe, making friends, treating animals, meeting clients, and helping with conservation. And the network just grew, and I love the freedom that provided me to really just focus on my career and the amazing people that live in Zimbabwe who are so welcoming. You can't not be welcomed in this country. So that just snowballed into a really great base for my career. And since then, Worldwide Vets has obviously pushed out a lot into helping animals in Asia and Europe and South America and so on. But really, Africa was where it was started.
Oh, that's really cool. And I think it's amazing. Like, everyone has this impression of what Africa is or Zimbabwe is. And it's media only shows you the bad stuff, right? They don't show you the good stuff. So it's really nice that you're able to come over. And I feel it's a safe country. And I'm pretty sure, you're still here and you've been here a while now, that you'd feel the same way. And I think that's an important message to put across, is that this place is safe and it's fun and it's exciting and it's interesting.
Yeah, it's such an addictive country. And Africa, we send hundreds of volunteers out every year, about 400 volunteers every year, and a lot of those go to Africa. Hands down, the same experience. People just arrive here and feel at home. They arrive and they love it. They feel connected to nature in a way that they often can't do at home. And Africa honestly changes people's lives. There's very few people who go home and go, oh, it was okay. They go home and they're like, can't wait to go back. So that's repeat experience I've seen from other people.
Yeah, we've had exactly the same experiences. And I actually saw people at the airport. I went to South Africa over the weekend for a wedding, and just being the person I am, was chatting to a couple, and the lady was an immunologist from the USA, and she came over and did some work with the University of Zimbabwe, and they can't wait for the next ticket back. They're like, we're going back. We didn't see enough, and just real positive vibes. And I think the Grand Tour as well. Old Jeremy Clarkson, he's just released his episode on Zim, and really nice to see it shown in a positive light for a change.
Absolutely.
So, Gemma, part of what you do is you help vets develop their careers professionally. You talked a little bit about you're bringing volunteers over. Volunteers as well, that's working in the veterinary field, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we bring over two main categories of volunteers and people on courses. So we have our students and our gap year and our pre-vets. And then people interested in a career in either veterinary medicine or nursing or conservation. Perhaps they're still working out what they want to do. And we run courses where these people can come out to different countries and work with our team, gain experience in the field, find out really what the day-to-day is like, and also at the same time use their funding and their hands on the ground to be able to help with conservation. So they come out and they get involved in dehorning rhinos. They get involved in removing snares off animals, anti-poaching, horseback patrols, and all that sort of thing. So it's a really great way to develop your skills and find out what you're interested in. And the other type of people that we bring out is the qualified vets, nurses, technicians, and so on, conservationists. And they come out on our projects, and they're actually helping with the sterilizations of dogs and cats. We do, at the moment, we're doing a big rabies vaccination push, because there's, rabies in a lot of these countries and infectious diseases that can be damaging to animals, but also the human population. And they do teaching on welfare and, how to better handle animals. So really what we're trying to do, as well as training up students and people interested in the career, is help vets give back and at the same time uplift the local communities and the areas where we have a permanent base. And so everyone's winning.
We need to really listen to that. You got me at the dehorning rhinos, and I've been with you when we darted a lion together, and I forget what we did. I mean, I remember checking its teeth, and we were checking its mouth or something, and you're like, you really don't want to be sticking your hand in there when this thing wakes up. But once in a lifetime experiences, I mean, there's no one in the world that is going to be able to experience these types of things, all veterinary based, but just I'd say like literally once in a lifetime.
The thing is, it's quite unusual to be able to step into someone else's career. And it's incredibly valuable. I think I'd love to pursue a career in charitable equine work. Let's say you love horses and you're a horse vet or a horse lover, and you think, God, I'd love to, really do something there. And sometimes, coming out to Egypt or India and working with horses, for some people that cements it. They're like, yep, I'm in, this is for me. The trauma, the long hours, the language barrier, the financial restrictions, I'm down for it. And for some people, they're like, no, not for me. Actually, this has been a great experience, but maybe it's not how I want to actually live my professional career. And a lot of our volunteers and course trainees don't necessarily go on to do a full-time career in what they learn. They want to come out as part of vet school and work with wildlife and really experience, what it's like being so close to these iconic animals. Maybe their career path isn't going to lead them to being in the bush working with those animals the rest of their life, but it's such an amazing thing just to step out of this world that you're living in, this sort of set focus, and just land in a continent, open your eyes, and be able to join a team that's all of our teams are already on the ground throughout the year, so we don't just go to a place with the volunteers or the students. We're always there, we're always in the community, we're always helping. So it's a really great way to just immerse yourself.
Oh, that's really cool. And like you said, you've mentioned a couple of countries already, and it's in the name, Worldwide Vets. So for anyone listening or anyone who knows of someone who would find this recording interesting and would like to reach out to Gemma, definitely. It is fascinating what they're doing. Don't be angry with me, but I want everyone to ask you about Zanzibar because I love that country so much, and I know you operate out of Zanzibar as well. Yeah, so anyone listening to this, please ask Gemma about Zanzibar. And like I said, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for mentioning it, but I love Zanzibar. I think it's one of the most beautiful places we've ever visited. And I know you do a lot of work out of there. You guys have just been back, which we're going to talk about your recent trip as well. But when you reach out to Gemma, ask her about Zanzibar.
Yeah. I mean, some people say it's like working in paradise, and, it certainly has its challenges, but some of the places we work really are just stunning. And yeah, it is like working in paradise.
Yeah, I love being on the beach there because you kind of like rent a dog for the day. Like while you're on the beach, you get these mangy, saltwater furred dogs, and they just come and join you. They're not aggressive. They hang out with you. You're lying on the beach. Next thing you got a dog next to you, give him a little scratch, and then he follows you around the whole day. So that was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of strays on Zanzibar. It's a real problem. There's a lot of food going into rubbish dumps there, and that kind of thing. So it's really important to look after those animals because we also want these areas to thrive through tourism, right, as well as for the local community. So it's kind of a holistic approach looking after the animals.
Yeah. And then Gemma, so again, I never know where to start with you, but your recent travel. So I know when the first bombs dropped on Ukraine, you were over there on the first plane ticket that you could get. Would you share that story with this audience? Because I think it's part of what explains you as a person, the type of person you are, the courage, everything that you put into it. And people were leaving the country in thousands, and you worked going towards it to get stuck in to help. It has been dangerous. You've been in some pretty hairy situations, and would love to know maybe what the motivation for you was to go over there, and maybe just briefly on your experiences, because I feel we could probably have another recording just on Ukraine.
I think we could do a whole one on Ukraine, but keeping it brief. So essentially, I never planned on developing our work in Eastern Europe. It was never on the radar. We focus heavily Egypt, India, Thailand, Peru, Costa Rica, Zimbabwe, South Africa. But when Ukraine kicked off, and I'm sure there's no one that would deny it was just a global outcry for human rights, for animal rights, and all the images that were coming out of the media of people trying to leave with their animals, people having to abandon animals being abandoned in houses, shelters that people couldn't get to with dogs starving. And, you have a decision, I think, in that moment. And some of the best decisions you make in life are some of the fastest and most pressured.
Hold my breath.
And I had a decision. Okay, do we carry on with the work we're doing, and do we let it be, or do we actually get involved? And the only way you can make an improvement in the world or impact really is by getting involved, and everyone has a different way of doing that. Not everyone needs to go rushing into a war zone at all. And hundreds of thousands of people donated and shuttled goods and did absolutely amazing things. And I felt at that time with the team I had, my role was to go into Ukraine because I've got previous military experience. I'm a veterinarian. I can provide care to those animals and advice for people moving across borders. So I flew to Poland. You can't still fly to Ukraine because it's a closed airspace, and ended up hitchhiking into Ukraine on a horse truck that was bringing horses out and horse food back in, and met with the Ukraine Equestrian Federation initially and started looking around the country at, how can we best utilize donations? How can we best provide sustainable help? And that was due to only be with horses, and that very rapidly snowballed when people found out I could work with wildlife. It became the evacuations of 9 lions from Odessa Zoo. When people found out that I had previous military experience, we got moved closer and closer to the front line until we were literally taking dogs from under Russian fire, evacuating them, treating them, vaccinating them, and so on.
Yeah, I have no words. I think it's incredible, and like emotional as well. Like and you bring up the humanitarian outcry, but as well. But there's a lot of people who are animal lovers, and I think a lot of humans have a big soft spot. So yes, there's a humanity side of it, but who's taking care of the animals? Who's getting stuck in? And I think through our own experiences of we didn't live as, I think, severe as what Ukraine did, but we have lived through situations where people have had to evacuate, animals were left in a bad state, and definitely pulls on major heartstrings there. So yeah, hats off to you for that. I think for women in general, like, there's this whole dialogue, and we've been speaking about it as well. Like, where's the space where gender equality is actually a discussion on equality and not one trying to overshadow another? And where do we find the ground where we all work together? How do I be a better advocate for men, but as strong an advocate as I can for women as well? And I think you're really, I don't know, an example of that, of what women can do, what they can bring to the table. And you're certainly not shouting, from the rooftop for your own rights. You're just getting stuck in. You're living your day to day, and you're getting it done. And I, as sort of I feel a strong man from the third world, like, recognize and appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting you bring it up. It doesn't enter my thought process at all, actually. I think we're just too busy with work to worry about stuff like that. And we are an equal opportunities employer, so we employ people from all around the world. All of our coordination and administration team work remotely, so we don't have an office space. We actually move around helping animals and at the same time running the charity. And then the vets are all locals from the countries where we work, so we provide local employment. And yeah, I honestly, everyone has their fortes, regardless of their sex, their gender, their age, and their race. Everyone's got their strengths, everyone's got their weaknesses. And I think you do have to play to your strengths. You have to work on your weaknesses. But if you're passionate about what you do, there's no stopping you. As I'm sure my family will share with you, if you really love what you do, no one's going to stop you jumping in. No one's going to stop you succeeding. So you've got to find that real passion and push through with it.
Pretty much in a nutshell, what you're saying, it doesn't matter about gender or race or where you're from. If you've got drive and a vision and get up and go, nothing's going to stop you.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just saying, we all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses, and I feel it's like a lifelong search in trying to work out which is which and how to make one a forte and how to push one and how to prevent the other. But yeah, absolutely. If you're 100% passionate about what you do, there's absolutely nothing that can stop you achieving your goals, because it becomes your passion and your drive and your purpose, and it doesn't matter how far away your goal is or how many stepping stones you've got to take to get there. It just becomes easy. So I think finding what you're passionate about is really important.
Yeah, that's your why, and your drive behind it. So I'm glad you said that, because of everything that we believe with Unstoppable and that initiative. And then I'm just going to lead that into probably our last little discussion. Is you guys do a course, and I know you did a course in Victoria Falls called Thrive. What's the Thrive course about?
Yeah, so essentially Thrive is a 7-day course that's really two main goals. It's a retreat and a reset, but it's also an educational experience where we have lecturers come from America and also from Southern Africa, and take people through the process of self-assessment, self-development, self-improvement. We talk about managing different mental health challenges, be that burnout, be that compassion fatigue, and how to really handle those challenges and make them your superpower and come out the other side with the strengths and better development.
That's really cool, and that's going to link really, really well with the Unstoppable. So we got a lot of chats to have. And again, just Gemma, I think we're going to start wrapping it up. But again, a huge congratulations on the award you've just been given. And I would like to put you in the corner and back on the podium for that one. You've just been to China. What was that award, and what was that about?
Yeah, so I just got nominated and awarded the World Small Animal Veterinary Association Future Leader Award for the year. So essentially it's for, I guess, leadership and taking what's essentially the first 10 years of my career and doing something quite unique with it and really special, and providing guidance for peers and making an impact in the world around me. So it's a big honor, because to me, that kind of work is just day to day. you just do what you can every single day, and you see where you can move and how you can help more people each and every day. It's really special to be recognized for that. Yeah, really special.
And a cool adventure as well, getting out to China. Gemma, so that was a lot of the podcast recording, unpacking, I think, you as the person, which I would love to get you back on, and then we can maybe open up some really good chats and target focus discussions on what we're seeing in the world, how I personally believe narratives need to start changing. I don't feel that whether it's a third world or a first world, we're having the right conversations. A lot of people are trying. So narrative changes, resilience, what people are doing, and maybe a couple of lessons in what you've learned and what you've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm happy to come back whenever you want me to. So thanks so much for having me. It's really to share our experience and what I do, and what the impact we're making in the world and how people can get involved with it. That's a really great experience, and it's how we connect, and it's how we energize, and we're able to do more. So I really appreciate coming on to the talk.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Gemma.
Thanks so much. Take care.